Hi, my name is Tyvis Powell, former Ohio State Buckeye and national champion DB. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast. These guys was born and bred in the Buckeye State, and they like to talk Buckeye football and drink bourbon. Subscribe to the show. Now pour up a drink and pull up a stool. Here's your host, Joe Warwick. Get him, Joe.
All right. So, what are we doing here? Looks like I can't tell what happened. Anyway, probably this shitty hotel internet, obviously. Coming to you live from the Epicurean Hotel in Tampa, Florida. We are still on location while the home front is being repaired. It takes a whole week just to replace a freaking ceiling in your living room. Who knew? I didn't know that. So, anyway, this is your Buckeye Rush Hour for a Friday, November 1st. It's the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, get up, get up. You know how we do it. That's for you, PC. Hope you're out there. Just loading up the chat here. Quick question, easy one, I think. We talked about this on last Sunday night with Jeff and Sean. Do the Buckeyes cover a 3-point spread? It was 3.5 back on Sunday. Now it's down to 3. I'm going to give you my 5 keys to a Buckeye victory today, but hit me in the comments. Let me know. Do they cover the 3? So that's basically a touchdown if you include the home field advantage. Some home field advantages are a little bit more than a 3-point swing there. But anyway, so do the Buckeyes cover the 3? We have nobody in the chat yet. What in the bloody hell is going on? All right, we're live on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTubes. Got me a cocktail. Oh, that's freaky. Half a glass of vodka, sprinkle of lemonade, and a little ice. Handful of ice. You know, in a hotel, you gotta use your hands for everything. That's what she said. Ew. Anyway, so I'm gonna give you my 5 keys. Please pop in the comments. I will be in there checking shit out, and we'll post them up here on screen as I go through them. So let's get into it here as people make their way through the front door into the rush hour. So my 5 keys. I did quite a bit of digging here. This first one is going to be pretty obvious. I mean, I don't know if there's a scenario where the Buckeyes win if we don't get a clean Willie. And a clean Willie means Will Howard has to be clean, perfect, shiny. So I want a clean Willie. Key to a Buckeye victory, number 1. Perfect decision making in the RPO game. All right. No bonehead plays. We can't have a bad throw that sails over the receiver's head right into the arms of a safety. We can't have a fumble, strip sacks. You know, obviously, Penn State is one of the best rushing, pass rushing teams, defenses in the country. So we can't have those plays like we had against Nebraska. So 0 bonehead plays. Keep it clean. The passing game, I think, is going to be key here in this game. Will Howard, he has the country's 6th worst passing grade when he's under pressure, a 28.4. That's horrible. Passing yards per game, the Buckeyes are 20th in the country. They put up 284 per game. Opponent passing yards for Penn State, they're 12th in the country. They allow 175 through the air as a defense. You got their top cover corner is the transfer from Georgia, A.J. Harris, number 4. That name should sound familiar. He was down to the Buckeyes as during his recruitment, as he chose Georgia, obviously, and now Penn State. So the trick is when you're focusing on the passing game, and we're going to get to Urban Meyer's comments in a second because Herb is so played out. His way of playing football is over, man. Anyway, find the fish when it comes to the passing game. Those are words he used a long time ago, and it means look for the weaknesses in the pass defense, and there are some with this Penn State defense. The safeties, not great, Bob. Number 6, Zachy Wheatley, and he's allowed 2 touchdowns. He's got a 65.4 grade. Remember, 60 is just average, doing your job just like in school. But you won't get kicked out of school, apparently, for that PFF grade. Anyways, I need some vodka on this. Sorry for going early today. I've got dinner reservations. My wife thinks we're on vacation for a week, not having the ceiling replaced in our condo. Anyway, back to the action. Then the other safety, Jalen Reed, he's number 1. Not really number 1. His jersey number is number 1. He has a 68 pass coverage grade. So these 2 guys are in the 60s, not great at safeties. Now, let me talk to you about a Jalen Kimber. He's number 3. He's one of the corners opposite of A.J. Harris. Now, this guy, he is a true fish if I've ever seen one. And we'll get to the nickel corner because he's super fishy. He's so fishy, cats follow him down the rodeo. Come on, that's pretty easy, right? Saw that one coming, right? Anyway, against West Virginia, this Jalen Kimber guy, number 3, graded a 38.7. Yikes. He was targeted 6 times. He's on the season, he's been targeted 22 times. He has not allowed a touchdown yet, so there's that. But his grades week by week are in the 60s. Even against Wisconsin, against UCLA, these garbage teams, Illinois, Kent State, Bowling Green, he's grading in the 60s, 63, 64 against MAC teams. Are you kidding me, Pam? He's 6'1", 184, so he's got the length, you'd think. He was a 3-time transfer, started his career back in 2020 with Georgia, and then 2 years with Florida after 2 years with the Dogs, and now his final year, hopefully, maybe, who knows. Maybe he has 5 more in him. I don't know. Now his final year with Penn State. So Jalen Kimber is fish number 1. Fish number 2 here, and this guy, he's like a king salmon, or whatever your favorite fish is that's large. Swordfish. There you go. This guy, he's their slot corner, 6'1", 184, similar size to our guy Kimber. But this guy on the season has a 58 coverage grade. Now, he's been targeted 21 times. He's allowed 17 receptions. That's an 81% completion percentage against him. 183 yards. Has not allowed a touchdown, but I'm going to keep repeating this throughout the show. Who have they played? What offenses have they played? They haven't. That's the key. They have not. So anyway, Cam Miller in the slot going against Emeka Egbuka. Look the hell out, man. That does not spell success for the Knits. He's allowed the most catches and the most yards Cam Miller has. So look for the Buckeyes to go at him for sure, get him in some precarious situations. All in all, in this pass game, there are too many Buckeyes, too many weapons on this Buckeye offense. So look for the quick pass game, RPO the shit out of these guys, and get their heads spinning, and then look up at the scoreboard later and see how far we are ahead. I expect a monster game for Mech. But Urban's plan, we're still on keto, Buckeye victory number 1, sorry. Herb's plan, run the QB 15 to 20 times. Come on, man. This is not that kind of offense. You saw it firsthand. You hired Ryan Day. He doesn't run that kind of offense. This is not that kind of operation. What the hell are you? Oh, man. Herb is detached from reality sometimes. I say maybe run Will Howard up to 10 times in this Penn State game. That includes scrambles. So 15 to 20, no. You guys' arm's going to be falling off. I mean, look at what JT Barrett had to do to win games. All right, bad guy. All right. So, yeah, keto Buckeye victory number 1, just to circle back. Clean Willie. All right, keto Buckeye victory number 2. This is a tough one. Overcome the madness as a defense, overcome the crazy. You could see three different guys line up at quarterback in this game. That's not a stretch, right? Aller's probably going to get the start. Sounds like he's healthy, or relatively. And then our guy Prebula, he's going to do some spot duty. He's more athletic than Aller. Not saying Aller sucks, but with the knee injury that Aller sustained last week against Wisconsin, I think he's going to be limited mobility wise. And Prebula is much more athletical. Yeah, I just made that up. Athletical. So you'll see some spot duty for him, unless Aller gets hurt again. But then Tyler Warren, you're going to see him, the tight end, lined up at Wildcat quarterback all over the field. He's going to be at receiver. Hell, they lined him up at center a couple weeks ago. This guy is going to be all over. So he definitely will line up at quarterback a couple times, especially in goal line, short yardage, shit like that. Now, these guys are limited in their weapons. They got Wallace, the wide receiver. He's the only threat. But Kotelnicki, the OC, is super creative. Warren's going to be everywhere. I think what you do with Tyler Warren is you just spy him when he walks out of the freaking locker room. Just spy him when he goes to the sideline for a Gatorade, goes to take a squirt, whatever. Spy Tyler Warren for 60 minutes, nonstop. I don't care if the defense is on the field for them. Keep an eyeball on Tyler Warren at all times, which leads me right into who that could be. Sounds like Lathan Ransom is returning. So, is Ransom healthy enough to cover a big dude? Warren's a big dude, much bigger than Ransom. So, do you consider doubling? Maybe some support over the top. I don't know, or underneath with a linebacker. You got Caleb Downs back there. Do you consider moving him a little closer, shading him to Tyler Warren's side? But he is the weapon. All right. He's not to throw any shade at Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, but they've combined for about 1,000 yards, 7 TDs. They're not blowing anybody out of the water through 7 games, but they're putting up significant yardage for sure, and they want to run the ball, But the Nits, they've gotten off to some slow starts this season. This to me is where Ohio State could take advantage and take the crowd out of this game early, because they rank 30th in the nation in offensive grade in the first quarter alone. They scored just 24 points in 7 games in the first quarter of this season. So 7 first quarters, they have scored a combined 24 points. That's pretty freaking slow. So they have scored a combined 3 points in their last 3 first quarters, their last 3 games. So Penn State, they start out conservative early in the games. Then Kotelnicki really goes to work and decides on what adjustments they need to make and shit. So they have been throwing. Now, just because I'm saying they're conservative early doesn't mean they're just running the ball, handing it off, Michigan style. No, they're still throwing the ball early on, but the depth of target is much different first quarter to the rest of the game. So 6.2 yards in the first quarter, then 10.1 for the rest of the game. So they let Drew Aller get a little loosened up there in the first quarter, warm up his arm, get the chicken wing going or whatever for 6.2. Then the rest of the game, they start going a little deeper, feeling a little more comfortable when Kotelnicki feels comfortable with seeing the defense and how they're reacting to shit. So, and one flip side to that is the Buckeye defense has the highest grade in the first half of games this year. So when the game starts off, first half, highest graded defense in the country. So the question is, will Penn State be more aggressive this week early on, because they know they're going to have to score some points? I don't think 20 points is going to get it done this week against the Buckeyes. So key to a Buckeye victory number 2, defense has to overcome the crazy, right? Key to a Buckeye victory number 3, I will get to your comments as they come pouring in. Appreciate everybody joining me. The Penn State O-line. Can they keep Drew Aller upright for 4 quarters. Um, their left guard, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this dude's name. We'll call him Ione, Tony Ione. Is he from Black Sabbath? Pretty sure. Anyway, this guy plays left guard for Penn State. I don't think it's the same guy. Maybe I'm nuts. Mm. So he had 207 pass blocking snaps this year, 0 sacks allowed, 0 hits on his QBs, and only 3 pressures allowed. That's legit and respectable. Um, he's their leader in pass blocking grade with an 83. So who else do we look at here? Who do we target as a possible issue? So you got, I think Buckeyes are going to have to bring more pressure, similar to last week, especially if Aller is not as mobile. If that knee is nagging him, then I think you got to heat him up. And if he's going to be a statue back there, not slide around at all, I think you got to go after him, right? So their O-line, total pressures, Nick Dawkins, the center, is the weak link on that O-line. He's graded out a 60 on the season in pass blocking and run blocking, and he's allowed 10 pressures alone by himself. As far as sacks, they've only allowed 2 on the year, so pretty solid as a group. But I imagine they'll probably use 2 guys against Tyleek along with the center there to give him some help. So probably double up there with a guard to help out. And their tackles, you got Anthony Donko. He's allowed 8 pressures on the year, but no hits, no sacks. And Drew Shelton, the other tackle, he's a left tackle. He's graded out a 65 in pass blocking, so maybe there's an angle there if we can get some pressure off the edge. These guys, this entire O-line is nothing fantastic against the pass rush. Their other tackle, Nolan Rucci, who's played 80 pass blocking snaps, he's graded out a 39. So this guy does not impress me at all. And then Shelton and Donko, these 2 guys, each have 3 penalties. So look for that maybe to be an issue. So I really think the Buckeyes are going to have to heat up this Penn State O-line and Drew Aller, and I think this O-line can be had. This is not the O-lines of Penn State past, So let's I guess this key would be called bring the heat, bring the fire on defense through this Penn State O-line. Key to a Buckeye victory number 4. This is flipping it. So the trenches are important, especially in these matchup games. We know that. So let's see a stout Ohio State O-line. Let's stand up to their pass rush. They're one of the best in the country, 9th in the country in win rate, pass rush win rate, 47%. They win. Penn State's 15th best in pass rush grade, 80 as a team, over 80. And the pressure grade, 38%. Their pass yards per game, the Buckeyes put up 284, and the Penn State defense, they allow 175. I think I mentioned that earlier. They're 12th. Anyway, Buckeyes have only allowed 7 sacks in 7 games, and this Penn State defense only has 14 sacks in 7 games. So 2 per game on average, obviously, but this is not your Penn State edge rushers of previous years, in my opinion. There's no Micah Parsons. There's not even a Chop Robinson from last year. So you got your edges, number 11, Abdul Carter. Just change the name. Well, you don't have to because they don't put names on the back of their jerseys. Just change the guy inside. So a number 11 coming off the edge. Shocker. It's Penn State, right? It's the pancake breakfast. We do it every month. Anyway, then number 33 on the other side, Dennis Sutton. I like Danny. So the pass rush from these 2 guys is key. They've combined for 21. Oh, no, they each have 21 pressures. So 42 pressures just from these 2 guys alone. Now, Dennis Sutton is questionable for this game. I haven't heard an update yet. We'll see what happens. It could be another situation where he doesn't play like we had against Oregon. We'll see. But Abdul Carter only has 4 sacks in 7 games. So this guy isn't exactly lighting up the stat sheet, in my opinion. You know, one underrated guy along that D line is Zane Durant. He's a D tackle, number 28. Weird number, I know. I can't picture it. But anyway, he's underrated in my opinion. 3 sacks. He has 3 sacks, second on the team. But there is another issue with this pass rush in that Abdul Carter, he has 6 penalties on the year. Trying to guess that snap count, right? So 6 times he's guessed wrong. And then you got a dude named Amin Vanover. He's second on the team with 4 penalties on the defense. So, let's switch up that snap count, maybe get some free yardage. Anyway, continuing. So on the run defense, so we're talking Buckeye O-line here for this fourth key. Run defense, there are some holes there as well. Buckeyes are running for 188 per game. That's 30th in the country. Now Penn State, they're only allowing 93 per game on the ground. That's 6th in the country to their opponents. Like I mentioned, they have 41 missed tackles as a team. That's very low, respectable, better than Ohio State. Now, there are the holes I'm looking at are linebacker Tony Rojas, number 13. He grades out a 44.5 against the run. That's horrible. And has 11 missed tackles on his lonesome. So he's good for about 2 per game almost. Then edge rusher Dennis Sutton grades out a 61.2 against the run. Not fantastic. Not good at all, actually. Abdul Carter, he's decent. 74 against the run. Very good. And then Zane Durant, the guy I mentioned, number 28, the D tackle. Against the run, he's an 82.5. So he does his freaking job and then some. He's basically a Tyleek, just in a stupid looking uniform that's white. That's it. It's white. It's white. So all that to say, I expect a bounce back week after a terrible offensive line performance against Nebraska last week. Donovan Jackson has to be your starter at left tackle. I don't see any 2 ways about it, just by experience alone, right? And then left guard, where's Carson Hinsman? I don't know. Haven't seen him in a long time, like a season. Then Luke Montgomery. I think it's between those 2 guys at left guard. We'll see. Maybe Sarabeld can pop in there at left guard, but he was alternating some series with Tegra last week. So if Tegra's not 100% healthy, I don't know what the hell to do. This is turned into a cluster F in a hurry for the Buckeyes. So along with a bounce back game for this O-line, I expect a bounce back game for the running game, the Buckeye running backs. Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson. I expect these guys not to go nuts. I don't expect 100 yards each or even 75 each. I think if they combine for $120, $150, I'll take that and run with it, pun intended. So I expect a bounce back week. We can't go firing Justin Fry just yet. We're in the middle of the season. You got to wait till like January for that. So, but there will be questions asked, and we're going to point back to this week, the last 2 weeks actually. And anyway, so let's see a bounce back from the O-line for this Buckeye offense. And key to a Buckeye victory number 5, deep waters. And, that end of the pool that the kids aren't allowed to go into, well, there's a reason for that. Because they could hurt themselves and drown. Now, the Buckeyes have won 7 in a row. Penn State, again, who have they played? They have the 65th ranked strength of schedule in the country as of right now. So it's updated through 7 weeks. Well, 9 technically, but they played 7 games. So through week 9, 65th ranked strength of schedule in the country. That's horrible. That, again, goes to my point. They have played nobody. At least we played Oregon, right? I mean, USC doesn't count for much, in my opinion, as far as Penn State goes. We played the number 1 team in the country. Anyway, so take these fools into deep water. Take the crowd out early with an early scoring drive. That shit will get quiet. You'll hear a mouse take a squirt. So leave no doubt. Famous last words. Anyway, clean, mistake-free football. That's what we need to see. And hey, if we're lucky, maybe Franklin is going to Franklin. And we know what that looks like. It's pretty fucking funny. Pardon my F words. Anyway, that was the first one of the show. We're like halfway through. Anyways, so yeah, keep piling your scores in there, or yeah, give me your score predictions, and if the Buckeyes cover the 3. So again, just to recap quickly, Kudo Buckeye victory number 1, clean Willie Howard, no bonehead plays, perfect in the RPO game, perfect decision making, and a big game for Mecca. Keto Buckeye victory number 2, overcome the craziness that you're going to see from this Penn State offense and Andy Kotelnicki, the mad scientist. And Keto Buckeye victory number 3, let's get through this Penn State O-line. There are holes. There are sacks to be had, pressures to be had. Aller is not as mobile as he once was. Keto Buckeye victory number 4, let's see a stout bounce back game for this Buckeye O-line. And then Keto Buckeye victory number 5, take these cats into deep waters. Cats don't like water anyway. So, all right, let's get to some comments, and then we're going to do our best bets. Right. Starting out, Mean Green, what's up? Welcome back. Good to see you. Mean Greens, I need some vodka. Says, hey there, Joe. I feel that our Ohio State Buckeyes come out of the game tomorrow with a victory, 31-17 Buckeyes. Your thoughts? I like that. That's a pretty hefty spread there, the 14 points. But I'll take it. Give me that all day long. I do have my score prediction coming up, along with the betting lines here as I get into our best bets. Badass Buckeye says, I'm worried about the left tackle and left guard playing tomorrow. Yes, but I think we're going to see a bounce back week. We're not going to see a replay of Nebraska. If so, cancel Christmas because we're not going to win that game. Badass Buckeye says Urban was thinking about Tebow. Exactly. He was delusions of Tebow in his head like a kid on Christmas Eve night. Odysseus says heard Donnie at left tackle and Hinsman at left guard, 2 guards on the left side. They need to be maulers. Yeah. And you can kind of game plan. See, this is where Chip Kelly's brain comes into effect. You can kind of game plan maybe away from Donnie on the left side and Hinsman and not call everything right. But if you're going to run the left, just have these guys block the guy across from them, right? So it can be worked with. You can play call accordingly. Odysseus, good to see you. I.O. Odysseus says Knowles needs to play more zone and sim pressures. 5-man blitzes where LB or safety or corner could be the 5th man. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the zone, especially with these weak-ass receivers for Penn State. I've seen the Buckeyes play much better, the corners, in press man, except for IGB. Sometimes you gotta just chill out, dude. Odysseus says Sonny on Warren. Okay, I like that. They're similar size. What's up, Sage? Good to see you. Hello to you. Sage says Penn State is going to come out like they own the world. Buckeyes have to withstand an early assault, then they'll be okay. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, an early scoring drive would shut those fools up real quick. Odysseus says Howard needs to hit the vacated area. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Odysseus says use RPOs like Tom Allen, make him pay for blitzing. Exactly. Yep. Tom Allen is no freaking defensive mastermind here. He's not like a Rex Ryan or something, or Rob Ryan for that matter. He's good, but I don't know. I'm not impressed. I don't think they have the quality of talent on this defense that they've had in past years either. You'll see running back Marks had a field day against Penn State. Exactly. They ran for almost 200 yards as a team. So Odysseus says Judkins and Trey need to be involved in the passing game, get them in space. Yes, I liked what they did with Judkins and his touchdown reception last week. Sage agrees. Sage says, and don't forget Peoples. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be a part of the first half game plan, but you can get Peoples in there, here and there. I love Peoples. You know that. Sage says, whatever the O line does better, runs, pass, whatever, lean on it. I agree. That's probably what you have to do and adjust accordingly, through the game, right? All right, let's run through these best bets. I don't have as many as usual, but I do have a fair amount. So we're going into week 10. Last week I was 8-8 on the season, 46-40. So let's get into week 10. 3:30 on BTN. You got UCLA at Nebraska. Nebraska 3 losses, UCLA 4 losses in the Big Ten. Now, this is at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, because every stadium in the Big Ten is named the Memorial Stadium. I feel really good about Nebraska in this game. I think they're going to bounce back. They had a rough couple of weeks, and I think this is at home. I think that's key. Again, you got a West Coast team traveling east. What time is this? 3:30, so kind of a noon body clock thing for them. But I think Nebraska can move the ball on these guys easily, and I don't think UCLA can score with them. Nebraska has a better defense. They allow 4.9 yards per play. UCLA allows 5.5. And I think this is a get-right game. Let's see if Matt Rule can get these guys back in winning form. I think they learned a lot the last couple of weeks, and maybe this defense can shut down UCLA, which does not impress me offensively. So I'm taking Nebraska -6.5 for the game. Next up, 3:30 on CBS. You got number 1 Oregon at the Cheaters. Cheaters have 2 losses in the Big Ten. Oregon obviously undefeated. So this one is pretty easy, right? I mean, if you really just look at stats, look at the records, look at what the Cheaters have become. Nothing. They've gone nowhere. They're just spinning their tires here, bouncing back and forth between quarterbacks. And so yards per play, this is where I see the biggest difference. The Oregon offense puts up 7 yards per play. That is 6th in the country. I need some glasses or something. Jesus, am I too close? I don't know. But the Michigan offense, 4.9. That's 101st in the country. They just simply can't move the ball in Ann Arbor. I don't care where this game is. I'm not worried about West Coast teams traveling east in this case, because the Cheaters just they're a pushover. Now they allow 21.5 points per game. That's 34th in the country. Okay, I think you've gotten a lot of that against some garbage teams. I think Texas really could have put the pedal to the metal against them if they would have pushed the envelope and really tried and maybe thrown more in that second half, but they're having success anyway. So I think Oregon is going to come in there and they're not going to run the ball up and down the field, but I think barring weather issues, which I don't have any issue. I'm not seeing any issues yet, but barring weather, I think Oregon's going to go in there, whip the ball around. Passing yards per game, they put up almost 290 on offense, and the Cheaters allow 230, 225, or 229 to their opponents per game. That's 72nd in the country. This is too much. Michigan obviously does not have the horses to run, so take Oregon -14.5. Oh, and player promo that I play every week. You should too. Whoever the Michigan quarterback is, this week is Davis Warren. Play the under passing yards. I don't care what the number is. It could be 5. This week it's 128.5 under that. All right, next up, 3:30 on ABC. You got Florida, the Gators. Oh, not looking good there for Billy 5-Star. Against number 2, Georgia. 1 loss from Georgia. This is in Jacksonville, of course, the world's largest cocktail party. That's what we call it because that's what it is. Now, I think a lot of people think this is going to be a close one. I'm not seeing it. I, it's not in the numbers. Yeah, DJ Lagway's playing instead of Graham Mertz. Is that better? I don't know. Probably. I mean, he's more of a wild card, but they've got a few games of tape on him now. Teams can adjust accordingly. And it's freaking Georgia, man. Last time we saw their defense, they were putting a hurting on people. So they stifled Texas and beat the crap out of Twin Ewers. So, yeah, yards per play, 6.1 for Florida, 6.1 for Georgia. Okay, very similar there. But points per game, uh, Georgia's got a couple points better there. Defense for Florida is the problem here. 74th in the country in points allowed, 26 per game. Yards allowed by the Gators, 400, 399. That's 86 in the country. I'm not a big fan of Carson Beck personally. He has the eyes of a goat, but he can whip it around. They have a lot of weapons on offense they can use. I think they just throw the ball again, and it's in Jacksonville. There aren't any hurricanes coming through that I've found on the radar yet. So expect a bloodbath in Jacksonville. This time it's not the Jaguars getting smoked. Take Georgia minus 14.5, and it could be much, much worse. Next up, 3:30 on the Peacock. You got number 13, Indiana. Look at them. Who would have thought that? Week 10, Indiana's ranked in the top 15. So undefeated at Sparty, East Landfill, whatever you want to call them. Sparty's got 3 losses in the Big Ten already. I have not seen enough out of this Sparty offense to intimidate me. They're putting up 18 points a game. That's 117th in the country, man. Yards per game, 353. That's 91st in the country. And then this IU defense is shocking. I know they haven't played a lot of great offenses, but number 8 in the country in points allowed, number 9 in yards allowed. This defense is salty, man. Like super salty. Like you just stuck your head in some salt water. So I think Indiana, looking at this run defense, you can do whatever you want against Sparty's defense. I think the run is really the weakness here. They're 70th in the country, allowing 80th. I can't fucking read. 100. They're allowing 146 yards per game rushing. That's 60th. Hello. And then passing, they're a little better in passing yards allowed, 33rd. But no, forget all that. Take Indiana minus 7.5 to win that one. Don't forget it's on Peacock, so nobody's going to see it, right? Next up, 7:30 NBC. Wisconsin at Iowa. This is in Iowa City, Kinnick Stadium. Both teams, 2 losses in the Big Ten. Let me load up this. All right. So, yeah, this is an evenly matched game, as it typically is. Now, it seems like Wisconsin's running the ball a little bit better lately, but Iowa rush defense is 22nd in the country. They allowed 111 per game to their opponents. Wisconsin putting up 181. That's 40th in the country. Okay, so a little close to even, strength versus strength there. Passing yards, both teams are not great at that. Wisconsin offense is 79th. Iowa's 60th. Okay, so what do we have there? Not much, Bob. Anyway, points scored and points per game allowed. Very even. This is going to be a defensive struggle, in my opinion. Maybe who has the ball last. Does this go to overtime? We've seen that happen in the past. Yards per play, these teams are very even. They're in the 50s and 60s, each offense and defense. And I don't know. Iowa's rushing game it is stronger. Wisconsin's is weaker, so maybe the Iowa rush game outpowers the Wisconsin rush defense. That's where I would lean. I'm not putting my soft earned dollars on a Cade McNamara arm, that's for sure. or Brendan Sullivan, who's getting the start this week. Oh yeah, that's another one of my weekly uh, player props I would recommend is whatever the under for an Iowa quarterback is, take that. This week it's 143.5 for Brendan Sullivan. Yes, of the Iowa Sullivans. So, yeah, and then I think the under, yeah, under 41 for the game. Let's see, two more, and we'll get back to your comments here. We're going to wrap up by 5 Eastern, not Pacific. Don't try that again. Let's see, 7:45 SEC Network, also known as ESPN. Kentucky at Tennessee. Tennessee is number 7 in the country, just one loss in on the on the season. Now, Kentucky's played some big teams well, and that's what they do. They give Georgia a heart attack. So can they do that against Tennessee? That's where I'm concerned because of the Kentucky offense. Kentucky defense, good, decent. Points per game, they're 21st in the country. Yards per game, 15th in the country. So a good defense. But their offense is horrific. This UK offense is 111th in scoring per game, 114th in yards per game. Puke. Oh, rushing yards per game, 76. Passing yards per game, 119th. Holy crap. So I think this Tennessee defense is way too good. These guys are top 5 in all offensive categories, including nose hairs. So I think Tennessee they boat race Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky has any gas left in the game. So take Kentucky plus a 17.5 for the game. They'll keep it respectable, maybe, but this is at Tennessee. So, do with that what you will. All right. Now your nooner coming up on Fox, Big Fox. Number 4, your Ohio State Buckeyes, my Ohio State Buckeyes, coming in 6-1 on the season against number 3 Penn State. This is another top 5 matchup for the Buckeyes. We get used to that around here. At the Smelly Beaver Stadium, Buckeyes go in there, have to listen to the stupid cat sound over the PA system. Maybe they're pumping in some crowd noises as well. We'll see. I don't know. So Buckeyes have won 11 of the last 12 straight up, and then 7 straight, 2-7 against the spread. So keep that in mind. And then in 2022, their last meeting in Snappy Valley, Penn State led 21-16 with 9.5 minutes to go in the game. The Buckeyes then scored 28 points in the fourth quarter to win 44-31. That was a beauty. Buckeyes were a 15-point favorite in that game, by the way. So did not quite cover there. But again, I go back to my 5 keys, and the Ohio State can throw on this defense. I think that's the key here. I know kind of throw the stats out the window in this matchup. You're going good against good, ones versus ones when you're playing a Penn State team, both sides of the ball. I think Buckeyes can heat up Aller, maybe force him into a couple turnovers. We'll see. Get some sacks, some pressures. That would be a sweet treat, wouldn't it? And points per game, I don't think Penn State can score with us, especially on our defense. We have the number 2 scoring defense in the country, number 2 yards per game average in the country to our opponents. So I don't see how Penn State can put up enough points to score with us. We're allowing 12 points a game. So strength versus strength there. Penn State's offense versus the Buckeye defense. I think that's the key to the game. If the Buckeyes can shut that down, it's case closed, game over. And so therefore, I see that the spread is down to 3 for this game. So take the Buckeyes with that field goal, and then take the under 46.5. I don't think this is going to be another 2022 game, 75-point kind of affair. I think this is a defensive struggle both ways. and the Buckeyes get over with the defense. All right, let's get back to the comments and wrap this sucker up. Sage says, oh yeah, we did that one. Sage says, Buckeyes by 20. All right. I like the sound of that. Odysseus says, just hope we hear as little of that cat roar as possible. Sounds like the cat on Christmas vacation getting electrocuted. It does. It does. That cat had 9 lives. He just used them all. Clark, this is a fine quality item. You mind if I fumigate this? Oregon. Ooh, Odysseus going big. Oregon 42, the Cheaters 7. I like that score prediction. Hell yeah. Odysseus says, Will Johnson will be making a business decision after this game. I think he's already made that. I think he's already made that, man. I don't know if he plays a snap. I wouldn't want to get roasted against this Oregon defense. We've seen them go against a first rounder before. Didn't go well for that first rounder. Odysseus says Georgia escapes by 3. Oh, Carson Beck throws 3 picks. All right, going bold. I love the bold predictions. Odysseus goes on. Whiskey 4, Iowa 2. All safeties. Just kidding, but I would take the under. Yes. Good call there. PC, good to see you, PC. Good afternoon to you. Go Bucks. This is the most important game we have left. But here's the kicker. After this one, we have another 2 most important games, Indy and the Cheaters. Yes, this is November, right? When it's November, you're going to, every game matters. You got to beat everybody. There's no margin for error, especially when you get down to the Cheaters and hopefully Indy. PC says Bucks 24, Nits 21. All right. I like that. Odysseus says Bucks by 1 in a repeat of the 2017 game. Okay. Howard has a JT-esque fourth quarter comeback. I like that. Give you that. All right. Odysseus wrapping it up here. Franklin runs Prabula on 4th down, and JT Tuamalo stuffs it. All right. Maybe the hug sack where he hugs the running back and the quarterback at the same time. Classic. Sammy Hubbard style. Odysseus says, picked a blowout last week versus Nebraska and had a dogfight. Hope the reverse happens this week. Yeah. It could happen. Again, Nebraska has not played. I mean, Penn State has not played anybody, man. This is after I dug into it and looked at all, the previous games, the strength of schedule numbers. They're in the middle of the country in strength of schedule, 65th. Terrible. I cannot respect this Penn State team. Sage says November is for contenders. That's right. A wise man once said that. So yeah, keep it rolling here. Did I get all the comments? So anyway, so yeah, I just, especially if their starting quarterback is dinged up, Drew Aller, he's a little mobile. If he's not mobile or very little mobility, he does not concern me. And bring in Prabula all you want. I don't think they're going to play him more than 5, 7 snaps, because it's going to be obvious when they bring him in, it's going to be obvious. Good. Yep. It's going to be a good game, Sage. I agree. Can't wait. I'll be watching it here in the freaking hotel room. I can't go out into public places and watch the game with other people. It always goes bad. There's always some asshole Michigan fan in the crowd, and I just can't tolerate it. So, you know what I mean. We've seen that story before. And, keep it comfy. I've got a bottle of vodka, big screen TV, a chair. So, good enough. Hope the wedding's not going on. I think there's a wedding in this hotel tomorrow. Again, fall wedding in football season. What the hell are you doing? Come on, people. You got to be better than that. Kidding me, Pam. But yeah, Buckeyes are going to roll, man. I was looking at some of the player props here for the Buckeye game. Last week they screwed me. I had Travion over like 65 and didn't even come close. Um, they don't have the player props up for yardage yet. They like to filter those things out. But yeah, my my advice is to always take the Michigan quarterback under passing yards and whoever the Iowa quarterback under passing yards. It's a layup, man. I think I've only missed on that like 1 week this year. It's a winner. It's a winner. So appreciate everybody stopping by. I got to go to dinner with a hat ring on my head. Once I take this hat off, your lady's not going to like that. So yeah, I think the Buckeyes covered the spread. Um, take that crowd out of the game early, man. I want to see this offense and Chip Kelly, start off with a freaking bang. You know, don't screw around and keep this thing close going into the fourth quarter. That pisses me off more than anything, especially when we don't take advantage of mistakes by the other team, or we give up our own mistakes to the other team. You talk about freaking infuriating. So, yeah. But all right, looks like we've got all the comments in. Please feel free to leave a comment under the video if you got anything else to add. I'll check it out and reply. I always reply to all the comments. Hit like on the video. I really appreciate that. And make sure you're subscribed. 65% of the viewers of my shows are not subscribed. Now, I will say that's an improvement. At one point, we were at 75 or 80. So we're down to 65, which is a win. And let's keep it rolling and make sure you're subscribed and tell your friends, tell everybody. So, all right, I got to get to dinner. My wife's staring at me with her cold, dead stare. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Go Bucks.